I think once you guys get the information that you're going to receive today, I think you're going to truly understand exactly what makes you successful, what makes you fail. And I think hopefully, after this, you'll be able to execute and do more within your life. For the purpose of our discussion today, what I want to do is just set a basic definition for success and failure so that you can kind of understand the message today. And keep in mind, before I go through this process, as you know, I use the English dictionary to my own benefit. So just FYI. But anyway, what is truly success? In my opinion, success is the attainment of some type of desired outcome. I'm going to call that success. So again, success is the attainment of some desired outcome. I'm going to label failure as the unattainment of some desired outcome. So right now in your life, you quantify your life, you quantify yourself based on this moment in time where you are right now, in conjunction to have you fulfilled or have you attained your desired goals. That's what you consider as your expression of success and failure, and what you use to measure yourself in this world that you exist in. Before we get into that, let's talk about a fundamental ancient Egyptian, West African concept. The ancient ancestors believed that when you came into the earth world, or you were born, you were provided with this quote-unquote fertile field that the ancestors called Shay. And it's spelled S-H-A-I. But they said that you are born into this fertile field that is completely receptive to the seed that you plant. So in other words, what they're saying is that your success, in other words, the actual outcome of success, is relative to the fertility of the specific field that you have been provided with. You are planting decisions into a fertile field, and that field must take that decision and turn it into fruition of an outcome. So they created this concept called Shay, which said that you're born into this fertile field, and so on and so on. This is exactly the reason why successful people can't necessarily tell you how they became successful, because the how is based upon Shay. It's based upon that fertile field. There are people out there that are better shooters than Michael Jordan. There are people out there that are better athletes than Michael Jordan. There are people out there that are better at a lot of things, but they can never attain the outcome of greatest basketball player of all time, simply because their field does not support that. So even though successful people may try to tell you how they became successful, the reality is they don't know. We understand that the moon has an impact over the earth. It influences the oceans, right? So that's why you have tides and things of that nature. We know the sun influences the earth. We know the other planets have an influence over the earth. In essence, what that is saying is that in order for you to be successful in a specific moment, there has to be an alignment of various things supporting that, which goes beyond our comprehension. It's impossible for us to truly comprehend how Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time, manifested to that. We can look at him and he may say, hey, just get in the gym and work, put up 300 shots a day. There are people that put up thousands of shots a day, still cannot reach that success, because success for him is a specific arrangement, a specific alignment, all the various things, not only in this universe, but in the other universes as well. So what I want you to understand is that how to be successful goes beyond your comprehension. But we have to get good at planting the good seed. So let's go to the book of Nut, verse 27. It says, in the state of Nut, self is king and the source of authority and command. The Sahu is the servant, simply conveying information to both the authority and knowledge of the king. The mental is the throne of the king by which information is presented to be subjected to his intelligence. All right. What exactly does that mean? Now, this is a verse that we've been using for this whole cycle, but what exactly does that mean? That means that you have to be responsible for implementing and projecting your good seed. It can't be something that's under the influence. All right. The king, or you, the person that's self, the person that's an expression of self, you are responsible for planting the good seed. You are responsible for sowing and reaping. Your Sahu is responsible for giving you information supportive of that. So too often we allow the serpent to influence us away from planting the good seed. Now, what's interesting is your life is organized up until this point. You may be 19, you may be 20, you may be 30, 45, 50, 60, whatever your age is. But up until this point, your life has done a good job of telling you exactly what you are here to do. That's one thing life is very good at. It's very good at showing us our path. So you know exactly what you must be doing, what you need to do to be successful. You're simply just allowing the influence over you to obviously plant the bad seed, or the seed that's not supported by your shay or by your path. Now, here's what ends up happening. Here you are, you know what you're supposed to do, but somehow you don't implement it. So what you do is you get sidetracked into trying to figure things out. So the fact that you're not implementing what you should be doing, or you know to be the case, you now try to figure things out. You try to figure out why the white man is so evil. You try to figure out, how to do things without executing your good seed. So you'll start figuring out things to a point where you may even find yourself incarcerated because you're trying to figure out all these angles when there's really no angle. The only angle is that you implement to bring about your success. You attain your success. Attainment means you execute what you know to be necessary, what you know you need to do. Plant that seed in that fertile soil, and the soil does the rest. I don't need to figure it out. Science doesn't even know how seeds manifest in that way. Science doesn't know how the seed actually manifests, even though they know all the steps of gestation. They don't know how that seed will manifest. They still don't know. They still don't know how your body turns something that you eat into blood. They know all the steps in the process, but they still don't know because certain things go beyond our comprehension. We're not here to try to figure things out. We're simply here to plant the good seed. So, how do you truly succeed from the concept of the Ma'asah? The Ma'asah says that one of the 4 reasons why the universe was created was for knowledge of self. And one of the ways you experience knowledge of self is through discipline. And we said that discipline is the ability to execute free decision, your decision that you know is right, that you know is correct. You want to hold your decision accountable to what you know is right, even when the influence of the serpent is attempting to influence you otherwise. We call that discipline. And when you do that, you manifest what we call free will. And in that state, you are experiencing self. And therefore, you are also experiencing knowledge of self. So therefore, we can say knowledge of self is the result of discipline. We could take it a step further and say that success is the power of discipline, and failure is the impotence of not being disciplined, is the result of being under the influence of your serpent. You know exactly what you're supposed to be doing to be successful. You know, you were supposed to go and get that license to do what you do. Your life is showing you exactly what you should be doing. You're choosing to live under the influence of the ego, of the sahu, of your animal nature. And that is the only way success or failure can manifest. Success can only manifest through implementing the good seed, implementing discipline. Free will. That's how we plant the good seed into the soil, and the soil does all the rest. The only way you can fail is through influence. You can only fail through influence. The only way failure can exist is through the king being influenced by the serpent. You know, that's why they said in the Bible when Eve was influenced by the serpent, and then later on in the Bible it says that man and woman are like gods, knowing of good and evil. What are they saying is that the serpent gives you the opportunity to experience knowledge of self. It's not there for you to be led by it. It's giving you the opportunity to experience free will. And through that execution of your free will, you come into knowledge of self. It can further be argued that success is not really the goal. Think about that. It could be further rendered that success is kind of a predestined thing, that as long as you plant the good seed in the soil, you're good. The true purpose of this system is to experience knowledge of self. To come to that place of omniscience, you awaken yourself to the possibility of knowing all things. Life is not about the success. That's something that all you got to do is plant a seed. We don't have to sit around and think about how to digest food. We just eat. We don't think about how food is grown. We just plant the seed. You're not planting the good seed, and therefore you're experiencing failure simply because you're not planting the seed from which your fertile soil is able to soak up. So for the rest of the cycle, what I want us to do, if you can, is start thinking about the things you know you should do, but you don't do for whatever reason, and take the critical thinking off the table. Don't worry about how it's going to happen. Just do it. You know, we spend too much time talking about how we're going to do it, how we're going to post it, how we're going to post this video for social media. You know, if I do it this way, maybe they'll like it more. If I stand on my toes and stand on my head, maybe they'll like it more. You know, if I sign a document and stamp it this way at 3 o'clock, you know, that's how white people get through the system. So I'm going to do it too. But you know what I'm saying? So you go through all these different fallacies when the reality is just do it. You, as the king within your mental, you're both the sower of the seed and the reaper of the outcomes. You are the only entity that can experience that. Instead of trying to circumvent the system, instead of trying to circumvent the fact that you don't have discipline, and therefore when you were going through the process to get your license, you decided you couldn't do it. Why? Because you didn't know that you were God in the flesh. You didn't know that you are the expression of the source. You didn't know that nothing outside of you can obstruct you. And therefore you allowed the influence of the serpent to take over you. You're like Eve in the Bible. Let's end the influence. Let's stop trying to figure things out, and let's just continue to execute and plant the seeds that are going to bring us our version of success. Let's meditate.